Be careful, these scary videos have left viewers in a state of fear that is not easy to escape. Number 5. On first glance, Corson doesn't appear to be the kind of content we would discuss on this platform. However, he does have a series of videos documenting his experiences with the paranormal in his home. A veteran of the Marine Corps, Corey uploads a variety of content from short skits to game footage to random tomfoolery. On February 18th, 2014, he uploaded something different to his channel. Corey explains he had just hit record on his camera to record the dining room light swinging on its own. The moment he hit record, one of the chairs moved on its own from under the table. The visibly confused Corey moved in to investigate, and after kicking the table away from him, it quickly slides back towards him. Until this point, he remained relatively calm and even did not completely freak out. It should be remembered he was in the Marines, and it is possible he was exposed to countless tense situations, so his ability to keep his cool when others would freak out is understandable. The movement of the chair is also erratic, too much so to be moved by strings or something else. While it was plausible when it moved out from the table, it doesn't explain how it moves towards him, and there is no room behind him, and he is clearly not holding anything when it happens. This proved to be only the first instance of several. The next convincing piece happened on May 7th, 2014. Corey explains he had been having issues with a storage drawer in his house constantly opening on its own. He sets his camera down to record while he leaves to go work out. Sure enough, right when you hear him leave, the door opens on its own. Strangely, it appears as if something has pushed it open from the inside, as the doorknob doesn't turn. It also takes some considerable effort to do so, meaning it couldn't just have randomly opened by itself. One would have seen hands on the inside of the door as it opened if it was a prank, even if they were seen for just a second. However, none can be seen and the area is light enough any strings would be visible. Throughout his life, he has lived in haunted homes. This has been known to happen to people, so it is possible Corey holds some sort of connection with the paranormal, and they are attracted to him. In November of the same year, Corey was in the garage replacing the garbage bin when the garage door opened on its own. The stunned Corey is seen on the CCTV looking around, certain someone is there. He explains there are 3 ways to open the garage: pushing the button close to the door as you enter from the house, by putting in a code on a keypad outside, or via the push button in his mom's car. He also explains his mother was out of town at the time, and one can clearly see nobody has pushed the button next to the door. Furthermore, if someone were right outside typing in the key code, we would have seen their shadow creep out from under the door. Nobody is there, and Corey is left perplexed. Since no harm has come to him or his mother, it is unlikely whatever is living with them means any harm, either just a prankster or genuinely confused about what's going on. What do you think? Number 4. Our next entry reunites us with Dark Ghost, a Russian paranormal investigator who has encountered some truly terrifying entities. However, this latest video quite possibly takes the cake. In what he himself describes as the scariest house he has investigated, an email with coordinates brought Dark Ghost to the location in question. According to the message's text, the girl who sent it claimed an elderly couple once resided there and experienced countless disturbing occurrences, mainly from the home's basement. Among them were unexplained noises, including full conversations and something attempting to open the basement from below. After the couple passed, the home was inherited by their relatives. However, they refused to move in, and the home has been abandoned ever since. Dark Ghost's investigation starts off quiet, and he states he hasn't experienced anything, and it is already reaching 11:30 p.m. He then proceeds to set up stationary cameras, and that is when the activity starts. Not long after he leaves the room, the static cam witnesses a glass move on its own, sliding close to the edge of the shelf it is on. None of the other glasses are disturbed, and it wasn't knocked by anything, as it wouldn't slide in such a manner if it were. It is almost as if something is either pushing or pulling it. It is then tipped off the edge and breaks. Dark Ghost was in the middle of explaining to his camera what he did when he heard the glass break, and that's when things get really crazy.
Сейчас чуть попозже еще посижу.
Without warning, the entire house begins to aggressively shake, enough to send bricks collapsing from the ceiling.
Друзья, все рушится.
This lasts only a few seconds before ending just as suddenly. Dark Ghost, well stunned, thankfully is uninjured and moves in to assess the damage. As he is inspecting the kitchen, where the static camera is, he is startled by what sounds like a floorboard being pushed up, followed by several loud bangs from the other room. They sound either like a fist pounding against a wall or floor, or very heavy footsteps, but it is difficult to tell. Inspired by what has happened, Dark Ghost decides to start an EVP session in an attempt to communicate with whatever is there.
Кто вы?
He starts by asking if anyone from the spirit world is present, and despite receiving no immediate answer, eventually the device comes back with "help us." He continues to press for the entity to identify itself, and soon after it responds with, "We've been trapped." When asked where, it responds, "He trapped us down here." Earlier, when Dark Ghost heard the floorboard move, it has been covered in rubble. It again requests help and asks Dark Ghost to open the basement. However, 30 seconds after this request, something else appears to come through and say, "Don't open it," followed by, "They're lying." Clearly, there are multiple spirits communicating, each with contradicting requests. After several more requests to open the basement, an entity replies with a chilling phrase, "I will deliberately eat your heart."
Я сейчас, друзья, специально...
By now, it is clear one of the entities there has malicious intent against Dark Ghost, and while he initially states he will not open the basement, and receiving some talk back as a result, curiously gets the better of him and he decides to lift the floorboard and venture down. At first he attempts to use an RC car fitted with a camera, but unfortunately the camera battery dies. Despite his better judgment, he ventures down himself. After a few minutes of crawling without incident, he stumbles across a small bone in the dirt. As he takes a closer look, a sudden noise as if something hitting metal can be heard in front of him. At the same moment on his static camera, left a hole to the basement, a shadow figure can be seen against the cupboards in the kitchen. As it vanishes, he emerges and claims to have heard hissing from below. As he is working to get the boards back in place, a very loud hiss sends him rushing out of the hole. This proves to be all he can take, and all for his safety, he returns the board to the floor and decides to leave it for the night. Something in the home clearly wants out, and to cause harm, but one must wonder who the other poor soul trapped with it is, willing to warn others not to fall for the lies the other spirit says. Number 3. D-Doc Michael is a Korean-based YouTube channel run by duo Tichi and Michael. The pair travels to various alleged haunted locations across South Korea and document their experiences. On March 21st, 2021, Michael ventures alone to what is said to be the grounds of a passed-away shaman. The first 2.5 minutes of the exploration are rather quiet, but that changes when he finds what looks like a small office or reception desk. He is checking out some paintings left there, and he is startled when he smells what resembles ash. This could explain the box of matches on the table, but he gets a fright when a knife left on a plate starts moving on its own.
깜짝이야, 씨.
This causes him to flee the room briefly before he returns and tosses the knife outside. Later, after cautiously passing in front of a mirror, he peers into the next room and is startled to see what appears to be candlelight coming from the other side of some faded glass. As he discovers, to his relief, it is just a street light. His live chat starts frantically typing to look at the ceiling. Confused, he looks all over the ceiling but finds nothing. But that's when they tell him to look at it through the mirror. He does so, but again finds nothing. However, the chat seems to have seen something on the ceiling through the mirror when he passed by it earlier. It's hard to tell if there is actually something there, but maybe you can see it for yourself. Deeper into the house, he sees a roll-out poster sticking out around the door. Much to his shock, it appears to be lightly moving up and down, as if trying to roll itself. It gets a good way up before dropping down again, leaving the startled man to slowly creep around.
하지마.
On the parchment is what appears to be a caricature of a being or symbol. Eventually, he starts asking if whatever is there will talk to him. A loud sliding noise startles him. The investigation escalates when lights in the room starts flickering on and off without explanation. His voice becomes more distressed at this point, and he is clearly reaching the end of his nerve. However, he ventures into the room where the light came from to investigate, only to find nothing there, and that the electricity doesn't even work. Despite seemingly confirming this, he finds another flickering light in the next room. As Michael tries to peer around the corner, a section of the wall falls and almost lands on top of him. Clearly, something doesn't want him around. He makes a quick exit from the room, then returns to apologize and ask to talk. However, he doesn't stay long, seemingly compelled to another room. There, he finds a photograph left on a table. Could this be who he has been encountering? The creepiest encounter of the entire night is when Michael peers into a dark room, only to see a figure moved in the shadows.
Huh?
The figure resembles a shoulder, with its neck and head obscured. Something remains within these walls, and Michael is clearly convinced he has communicated with something. Hopefully the duo will return together and conduct another investigation in the future. Number 2. Alberto Del Arco is a paranormal investigator based out of Mexico, another veteran of YouTube paranormal channels. He has been posting investigations since 2009 and has amassed over 2 million subscribers and nearly 256 million views. In his latest video, he and his team visited an abandoned school almost completely reclaimed by the surrounding woods. Encounters begin rather quickly upon their entry, as they hear the voice of a girl say "Aquí." This roughly translates to "in here." Could the spirit of a former student be leading them to her location? Chillingly enough, the apparition of a little girl briefly appeared in front of Arco as the ghost was speaking, then disappears as the flashlight is pointed at her. Could this be the same ghost who was speaking? The team walks into the room where the apparition appeared and finds several desks, shelves, and even old school books in poor condition. As they continue to search the room, another figure is seen moving silently past a window to Arco's left. It is hard to see on its own, but the crew thankfully enhanced the image in editing. The figure appears humanoid, albeit cloudy and disfigured. A minute later, Arco captures what appears to be an orb briefly appearing on camera, moving from right to left.
Un mapa antiguo. Wow.
As the team moves to another part of the building, faint laughs can be heard coming from the woods. They all hear it and pause.
Hey, soy algo atrás allá.
Considering they are in a wooded area, The possibility it was some sort of wild animal cannot be forgotten, but considering all the activity they have gotten already, could this be a spirit laughing at them from the woods? The second possibility seems more likely when the team hears a man scream soon after.
Los baños. Güey. ¿Oyeron?
This time the sound is clear and resembles a grown man rather than an animal. It is also louder than the laugh, as if it is closer to their position as they are about to enter a bathroom. The team is startled back by a dog barking. While unseen, it is close to where they are. They walk around to see if they can find where the barks are coming from, but find no such luck. However, it is likely just a stray dog who has made the derelict building its home and is trying to protect themselves, not wanting to go up against the dog. The team ventures away from the building and into the woods. They soon stumble upon a second structure. As they enter, more dogs still barking from inside, so they proceed with caution. Over the barks, Arko hears what sounds like a woman crying. This is terrifying for anyone who knows the legend of La Llorona from Mexican folklore. It is now Arko asking the crew to turn off their lights to look. Dog howls can be heard resembling the crying, but a distinct woman's cry can also be heard if listened closely. As the investigation comes to a close, Arko leaves a static night camera at the location overnight and captures an apparition floating in the room above some chairs and desks. Were all of these encounters related to one another, or did they happen to be lucky to find multiple different entities at once? I've got a challenge for you. Since you've made it this far, why not like this video and hit subscribe in the next 5 seconds? Because I upload 4 new scary videos every week. If you're curious about what I look like in real life, then go to my Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT and tap that follow button to find out. Number 1. Twin Paranormal is a channel started by 2 brothers, Ryan and River. They first encountered the paranormal when they and their parents moved into an old house in Reno, Nevada. Since then, they have been dedicated to finding answers. Since their channel started in April 2018, they gained 91.4k subscribers and have released hundreds of videos detailing their investigations. Their videos are of high production quality, resembling feature documentaries akin to Ghost Adventures. Furthermore, they have various series on the go pertaining to different themes. In January 2021, the crew of Twin Paranormal released their first series regarding family hauntings. By request, they came to the aid of the Kemp family of Las Vegas. The couple have several objects in their home who belonged to passed away relatives, something they believe could be a link to the haunting. As explained by Nicole and her partner Matthew, her daughter has been speaking to unseen figures. She has been observed blowing kisses to the air and saying she is talking to someone named Lean. This has led to speculation she is speaking to Matthew's passed away grandmother, Colleen. Matthew explains he was close to his grandmother, but there was tension between her and Matthew's parents. Her passing had a profound negative impact on Matthew, and he descended into depression. Now, strange things are happening in the Kemp family home. 2 pieces of memorabilia belonging to Colleen, including a pair of taxidermy longhorns, which she loved and cherished, and a sign reading Munchkin, which used to hang up in the bar she owned. Nicole discussed how the strange happenings were infrequent at first, but are now occurring several times a day. She also started developing severe anxiety shortly after moving in, resulting in panic attacks and at one point a seizure, despite never having them before nor having a history of epilepsy in the family. Furthermore, Nicole's son started sleepwalking, often having night terrors when happening. The crew starts off their investigation simply by introducing themselves and asking a series of questions without equipment. Not long after this session begins.
Can you make a noise in here for us?
What? Did you hear something?
Yeah.
A couple knocks.
A mysterious knock is heard from nearby. This proves some sort of intelligence and what is haunting the home, as it is right after the team asks for it to make a noise. Intrigued, Ryan puts on headphones to listen through a parabolic microphone and asks why the entity is here.
Agent Perilous loaded. Scanning.
A faint whisper can be heard, followed immediately by one of the team's devices going off. Unfortunately, it is hard to hear what is being whispered, or whether it was the device itself.
Why is she the only one
Religion.
able to see you?
Religion.
As Ryan is asking why only the daughter can see it, the answer he gets doesn't make any sense. Ryan asks if it intends to hurt the family, and warns if it is, then it isn't welcome.
Are you here to hurt this family? Because if you are, then you are not welcome here. Oh my, just got the chills.
Through the EVP device, the team captures a thump sound, like something dropped or was brushed against. Furthermore, the team starts to feel chills and a drastic shift in the energy of the home. Ryan soon gets another intelligent response when naming Nicole and Matthew out loud. After saying Matthew's name, a faint voice can be heard saying yeah.
Her boyfriend's name is Matt.
The crew is able to hear it with their own ears, and all visibly reacted to hearing it.
Are you connected to Matt, Nicole's boyfriend?
When asking if the entity is connected to Nicole or Matt, through the EVP, Ryan hears what sounds like, "I can't." All this occurs within the first 10 minutes of the investigation. None of the crew's reactions come off as fake or forced, and all remain relatively calm throughout the first session, which makes these events quite believable in my opinion. Everyone's afraid of the dentist, but I think that 9 out of 10 dentists are afraid of the videos on this list.